Today's topic is about trusting your instincts, specifically your instincts of kindness. Angie, first timer, great. Glad you're here. I think this is gonna be a great class. I really like this topic. So this is about trusting your instincts of kindness, right? And what does that even mean? Well, we have a lot of thoughts of kindness that are like popping into our head briefly throughout the day. And we don't even really realize it. And so we're going to kind of look at why this is happening and how we can ensure that we're making good use of these kind thoughts and turning them into kind actions. So that's our overall goal today. All right. So if you are new, definitely ask questions if you feel comfortable doing so in the chat. If not, you can email me. I'll put my email in the chat later. That's what these live streams are all about. Asking questions when you either don't understand something or something I said isn't clear, or you just thought something popped in your head. Just ask it. Interrupt me. Like there's no interrupting. You just type it in and I'll get to it as soon as I can. I usually stop what I'm doing immediately. Okay? Sound good? All right. So for those that are new to meditation is a technique of familiarizing your mind with something, right? So we can familiarize our mind with anything, but with what we're trying to do here is familiarize our mind with good things like being calm and being peaceful and being kind and being grateful. But a lot of times we get introduced to meditation, we're getting intrigued by it as a method of relaxing. And for good reason. Right? Meditation is very good at relaxing. It's like our first step, relaxing our mind. But it goes deeper than that. We can use that relaxed mind to investigate things in our life that might be bothering us, things we're unsure about, sort of like an internal little Google search. And maybe we can come to some interesting conclusions about these things that are bothering us through just thinking, using our mind. But like I said, the first step of this is to relax. And the analogy that I use literally every week, I think, is this analogy of like a still lake. Imagine you're looking at a still lake. You can very easily describe the reflection in this lake, right? There are the mountains, there are the flowers. Oh, some nice cascading hills, very pretty. And then if it starts to rain, right, you can't see the reflection as clearly. If it starts to really downpour, you might not be able to describe the reflection at all. It becomes very unclear, right? And this is an analogy of our mind throughout the day. Our mind is by default a still lake, very calm, very peaceful, very reasonable, very objective, right? And looking at problems. But all the distractions and worries of the past and future, bombardment of thoughts, anxiety, disappointment, these are all like raindrops falling on the lake. And what it does is it makes it hard for us to access our calm mind that is there, right? The lake is calm, but it's just obscured by all of the distracting thoughts. So our first goal with meditation is to clear away some of the raindrops. And I put the emphasis on some because it is our human instinct to want to go full throttle and get rid of all of them, which is, our ultimate goal, of course. But even if we were able to clear some of these raindrops away, we'll be able to see the lake reflection more clearly, right? So we could take baby steps and we start to see progress, even with little improvements. Right. Does that analogy make sense for first timers? Sorry for hearing that for the millionth time. So how do we clear away the raindrops, right? So we're going to use a technique called single-pointed concentration. Okay, makes sense. Good. Single-pointed concentration, very fancy sounding, right? Good to throw out at a party. And all it means is focusing on one thing. The opposite of multitasking. Are we good at that? Focusing on one thing? I don't think so. We're kind of like trained to multitask. It's okay. It's good every time I say it. Crystal, thank you. I appreciate that. I get very self-conscious about constantly using the same analogy, but I think it's very helpful. So we're going to concentrate. It's called single-pointed concentration. Essentially, we're going to focus on one thing. We're going to focus on one thing so exclusively that all the other thoughts in our head, the worries, the anxieties, the to-do list, right, that we're constantly like going over and over, it's going to start to fade a little bit into the background. Right? You have experienced this before, certainly. If you've ever felt like in the zone, working or exercising, I like to mention I used to work in an open office, right? It's very distracting in an open office. There's a lot of sounds and talking, but there were times where I was like so focused on what I was doing that I did not hear them. I did not hear the sounds. People call my name. I didn't hear it. It's very interesting. They kind of fade away. And so we're going to intentionally train in doing that by focusing single pointedly on our breath. Right? Breathing meditation. Probably have heard of that before. So this is a very long-winded explanation of breathing meditation. But I think it's important to know like what breathing meditation is. Like why do we even do this? So we're going to use our breath. And essentially we're going to use our breath because it's always with us, right? So this is a very important part of meditation to start to get used to the fact, used to the realization that we don't need like perfect conditions to calm ourselves, to relax, to meditate and meditate well. We don't need to retreat to a cave or a mountain or have perfect silence. All we need is our breath, and to start to train at being able to focus exclusively on our breath, right? Sound good? So we're going to do a breathing meditation now. Instructionally, it's very simple. We're just going to like sit very comfortably. You're going to follow along with what I'm saying. We're going to focus on our breath and think about our breath. Try to like really stay with our breathing. And then when we notice that we have drifted, we just kind of be like, okay, I've drifted. And we come back and bring our focus back to our breath, right? This is like this is meditation. This is training, right? So at first you might find you're only able to stay on your breath for a little while, but over time, this will get easier and easier, and you won't have to try so hard to focus on your breath. And you'll start to notice that a lot of the distracting thoughts are beginning to melt away a little bit. The raindrops are beginning to clear. Cool? Well, sounds great. Let's give it a try. Okay, so if you are sitting down, great. If you're laying down, also great. We're trying not to fall asleep. This is a very common thing when people start meditating because you're starting to relax. Of course, you've had a very busy day. Your mind is very spent from the day, and you're starting to relax, and so you get a little sleepy. If it happens, it's fine. But ultimately, we're actively trying to focus on our breath. So trying to sit in an alert position, but comfortable. Laying down's fine too. Just make sure you're not too sleepy. And you're going to close your eyes and follow along with what I'm saying. Be about 5-minute breathing meditation. Very, very quick, very manageable. Okay? All right. So close your eyes and relax. Whenever we first start a meditation, we always check in with ourselves. How are you feeling right now? Mentally, physically, tired, sad, anxious, neutral, whatever it is. It does not matter. All that matters is you notice it. Take note of how you're feeling. This is an exercise in mindfulness. Mindfulness is noticing what our mind is doing moment to moment. So just take note of how you are feeling in this moment. And having checked in with ourselves, we can now turn our attention, our full attention, to our breathing. In and out through our nose, very gently, very naturally. You do not need to take big, deep breaths or forcefully exhale. Just breathe normally In and out. And allow yourself to begin to relax. You've earned it. See if you can follow your full in-breath and your full out-breath. In and out. Very gently, very naturally. After a while, you may notice that your attention has drifted. It is no longer exclusively focused on your breathing. It's gone on to thinking about something that happened earlier, something coming up later, whatever it is. When you notice it, just gently guide your attention back. Guide your attention back to enjoying your full breath in and your full breath out. Allow yourself to relax. Maybe we start to notice some things about our breath we hadn't noticed before, some sensations. How the air feels cool on the tip of our nose as we breathe in, and warmer as we breathe out. Our shoulders rising and falling with each breath. We're starting to get plugged in to our breathing. Starting to enjoy breathing itself. Keep bringing your attention back to your breath as many times as you need to. This is meditation. You are meditating. You are training your mind to relax, to be peaceful, to be calm, to be happy. How wonderful. So just sit here and enjoy breathing in and out for a little while longer. Okay, and when you're ready, you can relax your concentration, open up your eyes, and return. How'd that go? Rob, I'm late, but I discovered the written description of meditation below the video, so maybe it was fate. No worries about being late. I am often late. How did that go? That is a pretty short. I don't really like have a clock in my head counting, but I think it's pretty short. Breathing meditation. And the goal is to, as we said, just relax a little bit, right? Start to calm our mind a little bit, right? Remove some of the raindrops. And at first, this might be challenging. Just arrived. Great. At first, this might be challenging, right? The reason it's challenging is because we're not familiar with it, right? Familiarity is very important in meditation, in actually anything that we do. We're very familiar with making our mind as busy as possible. My mind went everywhere. Yes. And that's a very important thing to realize. A lot of times when people start meditating, one of the most common things that I hear is that when I meditate, my mind is busier, right? Actually, you're finally realizing how busy your mind is all the time, right? Your mind is doing that, Angie. Your mind is doing that all day long, right? It's exhausting to think about, isn't it? That's why you're so mentally exhausted at the end of the day, because your mind is constantly going like this, from thought to thought. And we're along for the ride. So yeah, at first this might be a little challenging, right? Everyone has a different experience with it. But over time, with training, just like anything else, we're going to find we can keep our attention exclusively on our breath more and more and more. And as we do that, all of those other thoughts are going to start to fade away into the background. We're going to relax a little bit, right? But for now, noticing what you've noticed is already an amazing kind of realization, right? Wow, look how busy my mind is. We never think about that. We just kind of go through our day and we never think about, is my mind busy? Crystal S, very relaxing. My mind feels like I have 1,000 overloaded files. I needed this. That's a very good description of what our mind is like all day long. And it's very interesting to notice it. I have more mental energy when I don't overthink or stress. Absolutely, right? The feeling of like mental exhaustion is from this, right? From our mind bouncing all over the place, the raindrops, right? So training in anti-multitasking, so to speak, is really helpful for calming ourselves. Multitasking, very good for getting things done. Yes. Not great for being super calm. So this is a work in progress for us. But if this was your first time, your takeaway should just be like, wow, look at all the busy thoughts I had. Or if it went really well, like, wow, I was able to do that. Whatever your experience is, noticing what your mind is doing is really important, right? Great. A+ is all around. Any other questions on breathing meditation or meditation in general before we talk about our topic? Rob, my brain is fried at the end of each workday. Yes. Like an interesting thing to do is to like, if you can throughout your workday, like check in and be like, is my mind super busy right now? It's like crazy. Your mind is all over the place, right? All over the place. All right. So our topic for today, and if you have any other questions about anything that we've done, just you can chat, throw it in chat, and I'll get to it. So our topic for today is trusting our instincts, right? Trusting our instincts of kindness. Right? We kind of did a brief little look at it, but if we're gonna really dive into trying to make sure that our thoughts of kindness turn into actions of kindness, then we need to start to understand how actions come to be in our mind. Angie, my body started itching as well. I also have that happen to me. You're noticing some things that are going on in your body, in your mind, right? You're noticing them, right? So that's great. Your job right now is just to notice, right? Take note, right? And think about some of the things that we've talked about, and it takes time. It's like anything else. You're gonna remember maybe, I don't know if everyone is driving a car, but there was a time when driving a car was extremely difficult. Now we can do it with, I was going to say our eyes closed, but we're not doing that. That's very dangerous. But we could do singing to a song and whatnot while we're doing it. God, don't go drive with your eyes closed. Oh, no. So where do our actions come from, right? There's two types of actions. We've talked about this here before. Physical actions and mental actions, right? Physical actions like speaking, walking, pushing up our glasses, literally everything. Physical action, right? But for every physical action, there is necessarily a mental action that comes before it, right? In order for us to walk, there has to be it's very quick, but a mental action that is telling us walk, right? To, hand something to somebody, there is a mental action, hand this to them, right? We don't really think about that. We don't really notice it because it's so fast. It's so fast that it feels like we're just doing the action. But there has to be a mental inclination to do it. Otherwise, we would just be like sitting here and doing nothing. or at least like not voluntarily doing things. Acts of kindness, physical acts of kindness, giving a gift, hugging, calling a friend, these are also preceded by mental actions of kindness, right? In order to give someone a gift, first we have to think, give them a gift, Quite simple to think about, right? Give a hug. There's the thought process, give a hug, right? Mental actions, and the takeaway here is that mental actions are our launch pad for change. They are the launch pad for our physical actions of kindness. They're very important. Mental actions are extremely important, right? How often do you think you intentionally perform physical actions of kindness towards others throughout your day? A couple times, maybe if it's a good day, once or twice, right? I mean, probably not that often. We're very busy. But mental actions of kindness occur more often. They kind of sometimes pop up into our head, and we don't always act on them, is really what I'm getting at. There are times that we have mental thoughts of kindness, and they don't turn into physical acts of kindness. So there's room for improvement here. There's room to nurture our instincts of kindness, to make sure that we are taking advantage of them to help other people, to be kind. Make sense so far? So, what is an instinct of kindness, right? Kind of this weird phrase. You can think of it as like a spontaneous mental thought of doing something kind, right? We're not like thinking like, how can I be kind, right? It just kind of pops into our head, right? So maybe you see someone on the street who's homeless, right? And the thought just kind of comes in your head, I should give them money, right? It's probably happened to you once or twice, maybe. Or maybe you see somebody who's upset, right? And we're like, I want to do something to make them feel better, right? And we're not like trying to think it. It just happens. It just thinks. I keep snapping. I'm sorry. That's probably really annoying on the microphone. Or like checking in on a friend or family member, right? The thought, I should call so-and-so, it's been a while, right? Just pops into our head. Spontaneous mental thought of doing something kind. They happen throughout the day more often than you probably think they do. They're so quick, and we don't really pay attention to them very often. We forget about them as soon as they're there, so we're not really noticing it, but they are there. An easy one is seeing someone going out the store you are and just holding the door open. It's kind of automatic. Crystal, great example, fantastic example. We don't even think about. We're not saying like, okay, if someone comes out this door, I'm going to hold the door. It's just like, oh, here comes a person, and then in our head, like, boom, I stopped again. I'm sorry. The thought, hold the door, right? Great. Thank you for that example. Fantastic. So the question is, do we always act on these instincts of kindness, right? These mental thoughts of kindness. And often we kind of like it's weird. We like talk ourselves out of it, in a way. This happens a lot, and this happened to me last weekend, which is why I kind of thought to do this topic. My wife and I were driving. We had just picked up Taco Bell breakfast, very healthy breakfast. It's delicious, but probably not very good for you. And we were at a traffic light. There's a lot of cars backed up. It was on like a main road, it was pretty much like a highway. And about 2 cars in front of us, on the side of the highway, is a man with a cardboard sign that says, "Anything will help." Right? Anything will help. And so my mind went to, I'm mimicking snapping. My mind went to, well, I should give him this Taco Bell breakfast, right? Just kind of naturally came to me, right? I didn't really think about it, just kind of popped into my head. And then I started to do something interesting. I started to think about other things, right? I started to talk myself out of it subconsciously. I was like, well, there's so many cars behind me. I don't want to hold up traffic here. They're going to yell at me, right? Or he's 2 cars ahead of me. Maybe I'm going to wave him down. Is he going to see me, right? It's like with all these like kind of I don't want to say excuses, but like other thoughts about the situation are happening in my head now. And what happens? The light turns green and we drive away. And I miss my opportunity to help this person who really needed it, right? A good example is calling a friend or family member, right? We have this idea, I haven't spoken to my mother or kids or my, friend in a while. Let me call them. Right? And then what happens? Maybe I'll do it a little later. I'm a little busy right now. I don't want to be on the phone for too long, or then maybe we're like, they never really call me, right? What are we gonna do? We're like talking ourselves out of this like instinct we had to do something kind for somebody, right? Not because we're bad people. It's just like this kind of weird thing where we're like overanalyzing our instincts of kindness instead of trusting our instincts of kindness, right? We do this all the time, right? So a lot of times we'll justify why we shouldn't do it, right? Has that ever happened to you? Like with the example that I gave earlier, like giving the Taco Bell to this person who needed it. Well, I don't want to upset the people behind me in the car. So that's why I shouldn't do it, right? Or we wait too long, miss the opportunity, or we distract ourselves, right? We have this thought and then we're like, I go back to work, right? And we just forget about it, It leaves us. Or we exaggerate the ramifications of what doing this might do, right? So we want to try to, it's a virtuous endeavor to try to improve this, essentially, right? We're naturally having these thoughts of kindness. And so it's quite would be a good practice for us to try to put them into action, to notice that they're happening and to not talk ourselves out of it. When we do make the call, I find that it makes me feel so good. I get so much out of reconnecting. So it's helpful to the person remembered as well as yourself. Yeah, it's a really good point. Helping others makes us feel good. It's important to remember that because we want to do things that make us feel good, right? That's like kind of our ultimate goal, is to like be happier. So we feel happy when we help people. So why wouldn't we want to do that, right? This pandemic has made many people forget kindness. Yeah, in some ways that's true. In other ways, maybe it's made people kind of rethink the things that are important to them. We can kind of look at it both ways. But yeah, like the pandemic has kind of been a little divisive, right? In terms of making sure we're trying to keep everyone safe and healthy and, that kind of stuff, right? So how can we make sure our thoughts of kindness that are naturally popping up turn into acts of kindness, right? That's our goal, right? That's the whole topic today. That's our goal. So how do we do it, right? Well, first we need to recognize that these mental thoughts of kindness are happening. Maybe it never even occurred to you until I said it, right? So now you have a little bit of insight into that. And we need to start to get good at becoming aware of when these mental thoughts of kindness are happening. If we don't notice them, we can't act on them, simply put, right? This is mindfulness, right? We're talking a little bit about this in the meditation earlier, noticing what our mind is doing moment to moment. If we can notice that our mind is trying to do something kind, well, then we can act on it. If we can't notice that our mind is trying to do something kind, we can't intentionally act on it, right? And we also need to become aware of when we're talking ourselves out of it, right? And this is a little more challenging because, honestly, our mind is incredibly convincing at trying to talk us out of it, right? Like the car example. I don't want to upset the people behind me. Seems reasonable. They might get upset, but like we gotta think: is that a good reason to not help this person, to inconvenience someone for 5 seconds behind me, right? So we have to pay attention to what our mind is doing, right? We have to check in with ourselves forcefully at first. To check in till we get used to checking in, noticing what our mind is doing, right? And then when we kind of notice we're having these instincts of kindness, right? We have to try to stay in that kindness moment, right? The present moment, right? Because we drift very easily. When we're having this instinct of kindness, right? We're very much living in the present moment. We see somebody on the side of the street, they need help, and we have this inclination to help them, it's very present, right? We're seeing things in real time and we're responding, right? It's very much living in the present moment, living moment to moment. Are we living moment to moment when we're talking ourselves out of kindness? It's an interesting thing to think about, right? So we see someone who's homeless and we have this instinct to give them money, right? Then what we start to think, well, what are they going to use this for, right? Where's our mind? Future, right? What are they going to use this for? Let me wonder. We start to make up stories about what they might use this for, and we lose track of our instinct of kindness. Or calling a friend, right? We have this instinct to call them, and then we start to think, they never call me. Past, thinking about the past. In the past, they've never called me. Our mind is not in the present. It's in the past, right? If I call them, I'll be on the phone for too long, right? I'll miss my show. Future, right? We're assuming the call is going to be long, and we're going to miss our show. Our mind is no longer in the present moment; it is in the future, right? It's thinking about the future. Or I have so much work to do, I'll call them later. I got to get through this to-do list, or I'm not going to be able to do X, Y, Z. All future-based, right? And our mind can't be in two places at once. Can't, right? So if it is thinking about the past or the future, where is it not? In the present moment. If we can't kind of stay in this kindness moment, we're going to miss our opportunity to act, right? So we have to get better at realizing when we're having the moment and staying there. Does this sound familiar to breathing meditation? It should, right? Focus on our breath, and when we notice we're not focusing on our breath, bring it back. Focus on the present moment, and when we notice we're not focusing on the present moment, bring it back, right? Focus on this kind thought, and when we notice we're not focused on this kind thought, bring it back. It's all meditation, all training, right? Does that make sense? Hopefully. I mean, if for nothing else, it's thought-provoking. That's brilliant. Perfect. Yeah. It's really where we want to be at, trying to think a little differently than we might normally. Felicia, yes, great. Okay, thank you. I appreciate the positive feedback. So our takeaway from all this, right? One, well, maybe now you're aware that you're even having these instincts of kindness, these mental thoughts. Maybe it hadn't even occurred to you that you're having kind of mental thoughts of the things that you're then physically doing. I know it wasn't very obvious to me until I kind of investigated and learned about this. I don't think about it, right? So that's good. That's like step one, knowing that that's even happening. And then two, second takeaway is we're going to start to recognize when our mind is having these instincts of kindness, right? And then we're going to recognize when our mind is starting to talk ourselves out of it. Another thing we probably haven't thought about, right? And then the final takeaway is we're going to bring our mind back to this thought of kindness whenever we notice that it's drifting into the future or the past, right? Rob, with the trend being that helping other people will make you happier. Yes. Unless there's a follow-up question. But yes, so recognizing that helping other people makes you feel better is a massive realization to have. Because, like I was saying before, we naturally want to feel good, right? That's why we do things that make us happy, right? So if we can kind of understand the benefit for even ourselves of helping other people, right? That's good motivation to help other people. Like you might think, oh, that's like selfish. No, like anything that's going to motivate us to help other people is beneficial when we're just starting out, right? I like being aware of the excuses that put you in the past or the future. Helpful. Yeah, it's like an interesting thing to think about. You know, you can even kind of analyze some maybe situations that you were in. I remember like we were the example I used when we were driving. Like after we left, I'm like, oh my God, I just did it. You know, I can't believe I did that. Right? Great. Crystal, maybe that's why holding the door open for someone is so easy because it's happening in the present moment, no past or future involvement. Absolutely. Yeah. Like it's very natural for us to stay in the present moment, but like sometimes we'll even drift on that, right? Like, oh, here's a good one, right? We hold the door open for them, they don't say thank you, right? And somebody starts to think, I can't believe they didn't say thank you. It's like, oh, man. I hate, why do I even hold the door open for people, right? So now we're in like the future. Why do I even do this? I'm not going to do this anymore. Or the past, like it already happened. They didn't say thank you. We're like dwelling on it, right? It's interesting. Our mind is always going into the future and the past. Our mind is actually very rarely in the present moment, which is a huge training in meditation, right? That's why we train in breathing meditation. Stay in the present moment. Best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. That's a beautiful quote. That is a beautiful quote. And I talk about a psychologist I saw for anxiety, depression, and the thing that always, the best thing he ever told me, and I thought it was so corny at the time, was if you're feeling bad, do something for somebody else, right? And like, at the time I was like, that's dumb, but not dumb. Very wise. Okay. Any other questions on this? Because I want to do a short meditation on the things we were talking about, right? Because we were saying meditation is not just about relaxing. It's about you relaxing our mind and then using that relaxed mind to investigate something, right? It's called contemplation. So we're going to investigate this. We're going to investigate the importance of keeping our mind in the present moment and the importance of noticing our instincts of kindness. Do I have time? What time is it? Yeah, I have time. Okay. Great suggestions today. Quotes, examples. Thank you. I love it. Awesome. This is what it's all about. Just kind of uprooting some of the things that the things we think are like 100% this way or that, right? Thinking a little bit differently. Okay. So if you do have any other questions, I promise I'll get to them afterwards, but let's do a little meditation on this. Okay. So same as before. All right. We're going to start with a little breathing meditation to relax, and then we'll do what's called contemplation. All you have to do is just listen to what I'm saying and think about it, right? Think about if any of the things we're talking about or I'm saying like give you like a aha, right? Called like an aha moment. That's what you want to look out for. That's your mind like kind of shifting a little bit. All right? Okay. So sit comfortably. It's getting later. Try not to relax. Try to relax. Try not to fall asleep. Definitely try to relax. The ultimate misspoke. Okay. Close your eyes and follow along with what I'm saying. Let's check in with ourselves once again. How are you feeling now? Different than before? The same? Whatever it is, just notice. Just take note of what your mind is doing in this moment, this present moment. And we can once again turn our attention to our breathing in and out of our nose. Gently, naturally. Smooth inhalation and exhalation. See if you can stay with your breath as you breathe in and out. Follow your breathing and allow yourself to enjoy it. Allow yourself to enjoy sitting here in this moment. And now I'd like you to bring to mind a visualization. Bring to mind the most vast, blue, open sky you could possibly think of. Boundless, endless. Just imagine it. In this sky, there will inevitably be some clouds. In this example, these clouds are our thoughts of the past and the future. Normally, when we have a thought pop up in our sky-like mind, we immediately turn our attention to it. We become wrapped up in the thought of the past or the future. We focus entirely on the clouds and completely forget about the blue sky. But we can make a choice. We can choose to allow these clouds in our sky-like mind to pass through, to just notice them as they're passing, to keep our attention on the boundless blue, calm sky. We can allow ourselves to remain in the present moment and not drift. When we're in the present moment, when we've removed the thought clouds of the past and the future, the sky becomes very clear. We see things more clearly. One of the things we can think about in investigation with this clear mind is the importance of noticing our instincts of kindness. Thoughts of kindness, spontaneous thoughts of kindness, are constantly popping up into our head throughout the day. Maybe it's calling a friend, helping somebody who you see is in need. These thoughts aren't naturally occurring. Isn't that wonderful? We are naturally kind. We don't even need to try to have these thoughts of kindness. They are naturally occurring in our sky-like mind. We should notice when these are happening. We should pay attention, look out for when these spontaneous thoughts of kindness are occurring, so we can turn them into physical acts of kindness for others. Instead of worrying about the ramifications of acting on this thought of kindness, or waiting too long, or justifying why we shouldn't do it, we can remain in this kindness moment, in the present moment, and act, help, do for others. And in turn, we ourselves will be happier. Helping others makes us happy. So learning to catch these instincts of kindness and act on them isn't just about helping other people. It's about helping your own mental state. Everyone wins. Just think about that for a little while. If any part of this jumps out at you as being interesting, thought-provoking, if you have an aha moment, just sit with the feeling that realization brings about. This is your mind familiarizing yourself with the importance of acting on our instincts of kindness and staying in the present moment. Very good. When you're ready, you can relax. Open your eyes. Release your concentration. Return to the YouTube. How'd that go? So you can see, it's what we would call like a full meditation, right? So you start with some breathing meditation to relax, and then you're going to use your kind of relaxed state to learn. You're going to teach yourself something. You're going to investigate something and see what comes about. What realizations do you have from thinking about this thing? Maybe none. Maybe you do have one. So this is called contemplation. That's like the kind of official terminology for it. Right? It's just thinking. It's just thinking, right? Intentionally thinking, investigating things with our mind. So today we kind of investigated what we were talking about, but you can investigate anything. And, I have a lot of videos on the channel. We do this every Wednesday. So each Wednesday, we investigate something new, right? It's endless, the things that you can investigate, right? Any questions on meditation, breathing meditation, the instinct of kindness concept, anything? Contemplation and SPC, I like that abbreviation, single pointed concentration, equals intentionally thinking. Yes. Intention is a huge part of meditation, right? Taking control of our thoughts and using it productively. Any questions on any of this? If not, that's fine. I will put my email into the chat. Make sure I spell it right. Meditationbreaks.com. Okay. Email me at any time. Any questions you have, and I will do my best to respond in a timely fashion and help. If you found this to be helpful or thought-provoking or interesting or relaxing, any of those things, come back next week. We're doing a different topic. I don't know. I used to know what we were going to be doing, but now I don't. I figured it out last minute. Good job. Kindness to others needed more than ever. Yes. Being kind to other people is the most important thing we can do, right? And sometimes we have to kind of work on ourself a little bit before we're available to do that. But our ultimate goal, right, is to be in a good state of mind so we can help. We can be available to help. We talked about that last week. That was the topic last week. So come back next week. We'll talk about something new. If you want, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. You'll get notifications of when I'm going live. I'm almost at 200 subscribers, which sounds like small potatoes and is small potatoes for many YouTubers, but for me, it's very exciting. So that's kind of cool. Crystal, 19 of you. This is Crystal's time to shine. Thank you for helping me out, Crystal. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate all the support. Like I said, I can't do this without you guys. If you guys weren't here taking time out of your very busy days to do this, then I couldn't do this. So it's definitely we're benefiting mutually from each other. Angie, I enjoyed this very much. Angie, I enjoyed you being here, and I'm really happy to hear that. Meditation is kind of a slow burn, right? So keep keep coming back and keep practicing. It can do wonders, right? We just have to put in some effort to do it and have a little patience with it because it's new. Anything new takes time, right? That was a spontaneous kind act. Indeed it was. Very good. Very good. And if you have been coming for a while, or maybe this is your first time and you're like, yeah, this is cool, I'm into this. I do private instruction, one-on-one meditations where we can look at some things that are like very, very particular to your situation, things that are bothering you, things you want to look at, investigate, think about. And I do those over Zoom. Since everything is remote these days, $25 for a one-on-one session for an hour. So if that's interesting to you, email me, Keith@meditationbreaks.com. We'll find a time that's convenient for you to do that. It's a really good way of furthering your practice. And I also do corporate events. If you want to bring this into the old workplace, it's a good spot for meditation. Relax everybody. School visits I do. Anything. I'll go anywhere. Felicia, I enjoyed this. I will try to come next week. Felicia, I really enjoyed having you here. I hope that you do. If you do miss next week, the videos are available. So don't worry if you can't make it one week. I know everyone's very busy, but important to start building a routine of this. If we want to see some benefits of meditation, it has to become routine. Just like now driving is like insanely easy. Eventually, meditating and learning how to be calm will become easy over time. Crystal, throwing out some love to my mom, Joan. She is a great mother. Yes. Thank you. Lovely meditation to start the morning where I am. Excellent. A good way to start the morning. It's evening over here, but it's good. Meditation is good at any time. Angie Rivera, where are I? I am located in Denver. I'm in Colorado in the United States. I've retreated to the mountains. So that's it. I've kept you for long enough. I really enjoyed having you all here. I hope that this was beneficial to you, and I hope to see you next week. All right.